And Gibraltar as a girl, where I was a flower of the mountain. Yes, when I put the rose in my hair like the Andalusian girls used. Or shall I wear red? Yes. And how he kissed me under the Moorish wall, and I thought, well him as another. And then I asked him with my eyes to ask again, yes. And then he asked me, would I yes to say yes, my mountain flower. And first I put my arms around him, yes, and drew him down to me so he could feel my breasts all perfumed, yes. And his heart was going like mad, and yes, I said, yes, I will, yes.
Yes, yes!
Oh, thanks for the vote of confidence. I think Joyce is pretty hot, too. And now that I've got your attention, I'd like to run down the reading list for the semester. See what else turns you on.
What a woman.
Dad, she is the teacher.
I know, I like teachers. Do something wrong, they make you do it over again.
Don't you think maybe you should just take some notes?
Yeah. I gave away all my pens. I'm sorry, I need this back. Here, here's a calendar for you.
Hello, Mr. Mellon. You waiting for me?
Yes, I was. Look, I know I'm only a freshman, but what do you say you and I have dinner tonight? We could talk about Joyce. She's my favorite writer.
Well, you're not the usual freshman, but I'm sorry I can't. The thing is, I'm sort of going with someone.
Where are you going?
That's a good question. Actually, I'd like to join you, but I have class tonight.
How about tomorrow night?
I have class then, too.
I'll tell you what then. Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
All right. Maybe I will.
Camera. The sticky camera. Oh. Why don't you call me sometime when you don't have any class? Why don't you call me sometime when you don't have any class? It's I think it says 2:38. I just got back from an eye doctor's appointment and I can't really see. You know, they give you drops, so I can see, but it's a little blurry, worse for wear and tear. Ham is going to call in. Ham will call in, although I should text him, make sure. I don't know what to introduce with. I did look at some of the stock prices. We can look at those quickly. It's all a moving target, I suppose. I'm going to try to do a video on this January effect idea. I think it was a bust this year. It didn't really work. There wasn't any real rallies. A couple maybe. I think with Logic, which is not a ham story, but that's up a bit today. I think Logic, you're going to get news this week or next. It's a trade to me, but we'll play it by ear. Whatever the news says, maybe we'll stick it out, but I'm hoping that goes to 20 or 25 cents, maybe higher. And maybe significantly higher. GDC down 14. I can't read it. I think it says 209. Finger is, I think, 228. Go Logic, not trading at all, it looks like, today. Interestingly, I'm thinking we might soon have a trade in RCRT, believe it or not. But I don't have any real information. But as soon as I get it, I'll let you know. RCRT, which is looking a little stronger. ZJYL was down earlier. I can't really read it. It looks like 710 maybe. And I think that's, T-low. T-low hits a new low. 667, up $1.67. Let me see. I just want to make sure he knows we're live. Hold on. Oh, did I listen to Avid Trader's opinion on ZJYL? No, but he's pretty good with his. He's pretty good. Is that? Do I have something in my eye? I don't. I can't see. It looks like it's eye drops. Avid's pretty good with his short-term calls, I think, and longer term, but with his reading of charts. I don't know what he said. I don't know what he said. All right, let's go. Mr. Bojangles' dance was first. I knew a man. He danced a jig, and then he said, "Hey, Jim." Oh, thank you, Morty. That's, hey, here's the real teacher calling in. So my wife said that somebody stole the car the other day. I asked her, did you get a look at him? She said, no, but I got the license plate. All right, let me get you on. Let me get you on here. All right, you're live. You're live. You should be.
All right, everybody. I'm sorry. I'm in Twitter jail for another 4 days, 6 hours, whatever. I commented about a shooting in New York City in Times Square, and I just told everyone on Twitter, be careful if you come to New York City, because Times Square is super dangerous, and be careful you don't get shot. And I got banned for 6+ days for that. I cursed everybody out all day long, no ban. I said something to protect people, and I got banned. I tried to appeal it 20 times. They don't even get back to you. So I don't know where. It must be some sort of, they're going after words when you say something or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, let's move it right along. There's a company today. Let me get the symbol.
Are you okay, boy? What's wrong? What's wrong?
What's the matter?
My dog's, he can't walk.
I hang up and go.
No. Keep talking. I'll just go in the other room.
No. I don't want it. Don't take care of the dog.
Just keep talking. Just keep talking. You talk and I'll do what I can do. Just you keep talking. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
You know, he's sitting down now. He's sitting down now. Hey, let's go through it.
Give him an Advil or something.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a stock today, Boy, Mary, Robert. I know nothing about it, so it's a short squeeze stock today. But what was the catalyst that make it go up from $2 to $40 or $35, right? The company has a deal with NVIDIA.
What was the symbol again?
Boy, Mary, Robert, BMR.
BMR, okay.
Okay, and what I'm trying to say to you is that I've always discussed small companies. It's very difficult to get a deal with a big company. If they do get a deal with a big company, it's super positive And since he got a deal with NVIDIA, I don't know exactly what they do, but you can't get a sexier name than NVIDIA today, right?
Yeah.
And the stock goes from nothing to $35. Trades 120 million shares, blah, 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 blah. That's Wall Street. They caught somebody short. They got to deal with NVIDIA. These guys, they were going for the knockout punch to kill this company. Meanwhile, the company pulls a rabbit out of its hat and gets to deal with NVIDIA. Now, I don't know exactly what they do, but I'm just showing you how Wall Street distorts these prices. This stock was probably $2 or something like that, William. I don't know.
Well, it says it went as high as 34.94.
Right. What was
the
close?
Let me see what the close. I'm having a hard time reading. 211.
So it went from 2 to 34 in one day on a deal with NVIDIA.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what the deal is. And basically, are they just going to be friends? NVIDIA lent them their names to be friends, or are they going to do actually business together, right?
Right.
And you say, well, I know a stock that has deals with like this type, and it's Finger Motion. Finger Motion has deals with major companies, and they basically get no value for it, right? That's the difference. And here it is. This company, hold on one second. This company has a deal. What's the matter?
This guy's saying I needed to hear about BMR last week, not today.
Just get in line. I told you it's impossible. I'll listen to everyone's picks any day. I never even heard of this stock.
Yeah.
I keep trying to tell people that's why we talk about it. We all want to have that. What I'm trying to show you, that is a stock that's been shorted, okay? But unlike Finger Motion has the devils on us. It's very difficult. We have Lynn partners and their friends short the stock, and it's very difficult. They're manipulating the stock, and they're showing you, it shows me, they have no value for their relationships with Munich Re, Pacific Life Re, China Mobile, China Unicon, and Assurant, AIZ. This company, I have the baby in the car with me, so if I hear the baby crying, it's just the way it's going to be, people. I had to take my daughter to the baby doctor. So, are you there, William?
I'm still here. They can hear you.
So here, yeah. So Finger Motion, which has the deals, but has never got any reward for them because we've been under attack by Lynn partners and their friends. And when you have a deal and the shorts fold, look what happens. All right, that deal today changed the whole company, right? Look at their market cap now. Everything happens. They can raise money. They're considered a major player now.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, out of the gate, look what happens. That's Wall Street, and that's how you're supposed to be rewarded. We're getting destroyed because of Lynn partners, friends. They're short the stock, and they can't get out, so they have to keep trying to hold us down. No matter what the company does, it never gets any reward. It's impossible. Every day since October 10th, they keep selling it and holding it down.
Right.
It's going to change, and when it changes, that's what you're going to see. That type of movement. And with Finger Motion, since we documented it so much more than anybody else, that investors understand what's going on here. Right. That's the difference. Here's the company, just got to deal with NVIDIA, bang, zoom, $2 to $35 in one day. One guy just said on the phone, is there a short in the stock? I don't know. I have no idea. Obviously, there's a short in it because they got roasted alive today. Or maybe when it popped from 2 to 5, they laid into it this morning and got short this morning, and then they really got carried out. All right, because now you see a company get a deal with NVIDIA. That's a sexy story. All right, so here it is. That's what I'm trying to teach you. Now, as far as the crazy stuff that's going on, we spoke about ZJYL, which was a forward split. Still, we're hearing that it's going to go shortly, but I don't know when. The big players I know have now sold the share, and this is still ready to go. So I know people that bought it up to 8. Now you heard about the other day, I posted a story about a gentleman that bought the whole float and they naked shorted it on the first day of trading on Friday. So you learned about a forward split, you know about a reverse split. Now you've seen them use it in an IPO. And they knocked it from 7 down to 5, and today it's back up to 7. So I guess the gentleman and his friends had enough of that. I'm gonna go fight these guys in the street, and let's see what happens here. My brother just texted me through 7, it goes to 9. Who knows what's gonna happen there? But now you learn 3 different things. When it happens on an IPO naked shorts, you saw the damage. You saw it with reverse. You saw it with a reverse. You saw it with a forward split. All right, that's what I'm trying to teach you about all this stuff that's going on. This is what happens. Any questions, William?
Well, I don't want to get into it, but apparently
BPII, we're waiting for the company to make some noise, or MMTLP to expose the naked shorts.
yeah. Well,
Finger motion. Go ahead.
anyway, according to 2 or 3 people here, Avid is saying ZJYL, if you want to trade that, you need to get a different circle of friends. But anyway, he doesn't have to agree on everything.
Well, good for him. I don't care. Listen, I know the person with me has put, I don't know, $30, $40 million and is still around in all the stocks that we're in.
Yeah.
So Avid could make his own decisions what he wants to do. I don't tell you what to do.
He's reading.
Some people like the Chiefs. Some people like the Yankees. Right? That's how it goes. So not the Yankees, the 49ers. That's how it goes. Somebody likes one, I like the other.
Some people like Taylor Swift.
There you go. I'm following smart money people that are, again, I can't make them dance. I can't make them do what they have to do. They do it on their time.
I'm just looking at, there's a headline, developer who amassed $10 billion condo portfolio is indicted in multi-million-dollar fraud scheme. New York developer Near Meyer flew to Miami, was arrested in South Beach. HFZ Capital Group.
The government needs to start locking up these people left and right. The system is so exposed, so much leveraged, and it's just a matter of time before these things start busting down. Everybody was talking about China and that Evergrande default. We have them here. What about Silicon Valley Bank, the New York banks, all these banks getting killed? How many billions of dollars are going out the window here?
So it says, somebody's saying here, did anyone console Ace today? I thought the 49ers won. Oh, well.
Listen, he will. No, we haven't. But listen. My team won 13 games and I lost all my money, so I don't feel bad for him. At least this team had a chance to play in the scripted Super Bowl. I believe it's scripted. It's too much of a.
It's all for Taylor Swift, a plain girl at best.
No. Anyway, any questions about the stock market? I don't care about all that stuff.
I thought ZJYL would have squeezed by now. So far, looks like I'm right. Okay, thank you for stopping by.
Okay, well, listen, I said to buy NVIDIA at 460. You never said nice call. I told everybody, I put it up. I said to buy Wolf at $1, it's 240. I didn't hear a thank you about that. So if you're going to be pissy about it, if the stock went up first, and I'm not sitting here, I didn't even own it, but people had their opportunity to trade it if you like to. Anybody can sit there and throw dirt on anything anybody says. So I've been in the game too long. Anyone who says that is a novice or an idiot.
Well, and with ZJYL, I didn't sell any, but I had at least 3 chances. Just sell part of it, buy it back, sell it. I could have I
No,
didn't do it,
Listen,
but
people
I
that
could have.
say that stuff, listen, people that say that are a novice and they don't understand the equity markets. I'm not sitting here telling you what to do when it goes to 300. I did tell everybody that when it goes up, you should always sell something, right? To make yourself comfortable. But that's none of my business. What happens if it continues to go? Anyway, I have a upset baby in the car and I'm driving, so I'm gonna sign off now and
All right.
I'll check back with you. Thank you.
All right, bye, baby.
Call ended.
Let me show you the picture of the baby. Let me show you a picture of the baby. I never got one of those. That's actually, maybe we could set up a place where they could buy 10 shares each on a prepaid debit card. Well, this is it. The reason I don't do the trades is I just I can't. If I sold out, would I be there to buy back? I don't know. Lucky's asleep now. He's fine now, but he got up and he was collapsing. He couldn't. I think the gentleman that said his foot was asleep could be true, but he was collapsing on the he was scared a little bit, but he's calm now and he's asleep. And when I came in from he ran up and down the hall, so not like a puppy, like an old guy, but he did it. Hopefully he's all right. But that scared me when he was falling down. I don't really have because I had these two doctor's appointments today. I don't really have much to talk about in terms of printing things out. We can try to figure something. I started reading this stupid book, Spare. And then it turns out it's got to be written by somebody else because it's way too intelligent. I'm working on a gold mining project that's a private company. It's actually was public, but it stopped trading, so it's in kind of a limbo. I guess technically it's still public, but it doesn't trade anymore. Anyway, I'm an investor in it, have been for 15 years or so. But anyway, they're raising money to build their pilot plant, and believe it or not, this is in Nevada. They may have 20 million ounces of gold, but they could have much more than that. And I'm hesitant to show any of this stuff because it's all confidential, but they're trying to raise $5 million to simply build the pilot plant. They have the technology and the process. I suppose there's always a modicum of risk in scaling up to a pilot plant level. But I just talked to the founder, and he's absolutely, he's late 70s doctor. He said Um, well, I can't read. My eyesight's so bad. But anyway, he said that this is a world-class discovery, and that he has it solved. He spent 4 years with his own money, his own laboratory. He's got it solved, and the resource is a large area in Nevada, just like where Barrick Gold is or Newmont Mining. They're raising money at 4 cents a share. It sounds kind of like one of our stocks, right? But if successful, which I think they will be successful, it'll take 9 months to know. It's kind of a fill or kill. If it doesn't work, there's no place to go with it. But I asked the doctor Saturday. I said, "Can it? How confident are you that it can scale up? It works on the laboratory level. How do you scale it up to the pilot plant?" He said, "We've already scaled it up. We've already shown it works. So we just need the money to make the plant big enough to process enough tons per day to produce meaningful gold, and then we'll sell the whole thing to a major or joint venture it." Anyway, 4 cents now probably is going to be $4, which it doesn't get you excited because you're used to hearing these huge numbers of squeezes. But 4 cents to $4 is 100 times multiple. You have to be an accredited investor. We're gonna be going to Las Vegas and then out to take a some sort of transportation day trip to the mining site. But anyway, if that intrigues anybody, I wouldn't release my funds until they get to 2 million, 2.5 million. I'd insist. I'm willing to invest, but only once you get to 2 million or 2.5 million. Why? Because that 2 million is about the cost of the plant. So you throw in a little more for the overhead and G&A. Once you know they have that, the company will achieve its next milestone, which is producing tons of material, reducing tons of material to gold daily for 2 or 3 months. And if they weigh the gold, if they have gold, this will be a discovery bigger than any in the world over the last 50 years. I've been involved with it for about 15 years, a little over 15 years. And I think they finally cracked the code. Anyway, I don't know. There's 2 or 3 of you out there that I'd love to talk to about it. Because, I mean, it's not riskless, but the risk reward, I think the risk is out of the deal. They can produce gold at a lower level. It's a question of expanding that production by increasing the grade. And anyway, I'm pretty excited about it. I'm going to try to add to my position. I may not be able to because it could sell out very quickly. I think once the sort of $2 million level is achieved, the rest of it will sell out in a matter of days because the current shareholder base is tired. They've been, a lot of them have been in for 17 years, through thick and thin. But as soon as that money's there, that they know that the pilot plant will be retrofitted and completed, I think they're all very wealthy guys. They'll close it out with a few phone calls into the company. But I'm going to try to go through, see with Busy Brands or somebody, how I can contact the handful of guys I sense here would have an interest in a gold, a massive new discovery of gold. It's nano gold, which is the same as the projects that Barrick and Newmont Mining run in Nevada. They do it at 0.03 ounces per ton of material. I think it's 0.03. 0.03. That's right. And that can be achieved here, but the many months of work, in fact, the last 3 or 4 years of work, have this process showing 0.2 ounces of gold per ton, which is a huge improvement from 0.03, which is the standard there in Nevada. Anyway, I'll get off of that. It's not a publicly traded company, but there are some, and maybe there's a way, if we got it going and there's enough money in it, I might be able to set up a small fund for the, smaller investors, but I wouldn't want anybody to put money in a small way until they got to the 2 million, 2.5 million milestone. Then the rest, I think, is much. There's no risk. Well, there's no there's no risk in the sense that the project will see through to the production and the pilot scale testing. You can't know for sure until you do that what the results will be, but they're highly confident. And then you come in, the cost per ounce to develop is going to be about a third of the industry cost. And you get a buyer like Barrick or Newmont willing to pay $100 an ounce. And it works out to potentially more than $4 a share. But on the lowest estimate, I used $50 an ounce and got $5 a share as the buyout. Anyway, I'll stop talking about that one. But that's what I've been working on over the last few days, and I'm very excited about it. CAUD. Tomorrow they're going to be, ringing the bell at NASDAQ or whatever. I think there's going to be excellent news on CAUD. I should be talking with the CEO possibly tonight or tomorrow. I offered to take an early train up and meet him at NASDAQ, but we haven't sorted that out. There's always a chance. I wouldn't give that a high chance. But CAUD, I think you're going to start seeing the news and see buying. However, the criminals have that well and truly in their maw, and they're going to continue to shake it and chew it and press it down, in my judgment, by selling shares that don't exist. Others say that it's just algorithmic trading, and all we have to do is get the momentum to the upside in the buying and cross the $2.25, $2.40 level, and then the computers will all turn to buy. And I think that's probably true, at least in the short run. But the problem is, we've seen in all of the stocks we've watched from AMC onward, the criminal element, they have to let that buying burn out and then start selling again. more counterfeits, and that's what we're up against with CAUD. Now, the cure for CAUD, the cure is revenues, massive revenues, good cash flow, and potentially really solid earnings. So to me, if Peter Boards is able to do the roll-up companies, there were 3 or 4 companies who agreed to merge into Collective Audience after the de-SPAC or as it de-SPAC'd. But the criminals came along, destroyed the share price, and that makes everyone go gulp. I don't want to follow through on this transaction. Well, I think Peter Boards can successfully get these companies to follow through on the transaction. And not only that, I think he can get it done creatively so that they're not issuing stock at $1. Maybe they'll get these acquisitions done in some, let's say they'll have a trial period, or they'll do a joint venture for a while. And then after all the revenues and the profits are agglomerated, they'll book the price of the shares down the road. And the thing that destroys the enthusiasm of these punks who destroy companies is revenues, cash flow, and profits. And they lose all interest because they know the company's not going to turn back to the pimp again or the drug pusher again. So I'm really looking forward to see how CAUD trades over the next few weeks. But we're in a battle right now. But I think Peter Boards is going to be successful at kind of shocking the whole system, this group of people coming in from left field, a Deus ex machina, just an active, almost an act of God from outside their little carefully laid plans. And like I say, if he got 3 or 4 companies to come on all at once or nearly all at once at a share price, at $10 or $7 or $12 instead of this $1, and the revenues are there, and there was cash there, and there was earnings there, and it was visible, and it revolutionized the ad tech market, I think you'd be surprised how high CAUD could go, Sammy. I heard there's a major, I don't know how major. I think it's major. Let me put it differently, a long-time institutional investor who is buying here. Avid is saying, looking at the candles on ZJYL, all the volume was a single seller. I don't know how he's the chartist and he's very good at it. I don't know how the candle would tell you it's one seller. It possibly could tell you there's one or many colluding with each other, and they're hitting, they're manipulating the price at the same time. That's interesting. That's an amazing detail to tell from the charts. I don't think there can really be more than one seller unless there's one seller and he's paid he's guaranteed to a bunch of these greedy hyena short sellers, hey, come in and help me, and I'll guarantee you don't have any loss. That's possible, but technically that's still one seller. So your question has 2 parts to it. Is it possible to tell by looking at candles that it's just one seller? I don't know. That's out of my league. I've never been able to do that. But I'm not a graduate student of technical study. And then the second question is, could all the volume be one seller? And I'd have to say, yes, that is possible. CAUD has strong fundamentals, but more than that, I think they're going to get stronger. And believe it or not, I think the genius of bringing in particularly Elizabeth DeMars and my brain, Peter Boards. But then you saw the other names that he's brought on in his advisory group, his CEO, his CFO. But those two, I think these are trailblazers both. And Elizabeth DeMars, took small companies up to hundreds of millions of dollars, if not bigger. She was the CEO of TheStreet.com. I mean, these are powerfully talented people. And what I understand, Upsoft, is, the idea of data logic was that data logic using AI was allowed online stores, online merchandise, online anything to advertise and I guess fulfill orders as well. I'm not sure about that, but allow packages of advertising and marketing which could compete with Amazon, Costco, Sears, if there's a Sears anymore. So those big boys have 50% of the ad tech martech, as they call it, market. The other 50% is unbanked, so to speak, and it's spread out. There's a lot of customers. What CAUD has apparently is a revolutionary concept, which I cannot explain to you, and new methodologies and new technology, and I think it'll be AI, to become the driving force in the other 50% of the online advertising market. And you're right, it's pretty exciting. I think it's ringing the bell tomorrow. What I heard is Peter Boards is going to be at NASDAQ tomorrow morning. I'm the one that leapt to the conclusion that he's ringing the bell. I could be wrong on that. So all I know, he's going to be there doing something publicly. What else could it be? There's not much else to do. There are no specialist booths anymore, specialist sections to go stand in. When do they distribute the rest? Are you talking about CAUD? I think the restriction was, I'd have to look at it. I almost want to say it was 9 months from November, from the D-SPAC. You stumped me. I can't remember, but there's a possibility they will release it sooner than that. But clearly, if I were Peter Boards, I'd want my institutional friends to be buying first and try to get this stock price back. Maybe it can go to 20, 15, 20, 25. I'm not saying tomorrow. Don't rush in. I'm not saying it would happen tomorrow, but there's a very thin float. There's a huge short position, and whether it's legal or illegal or both, there's a potential for a short squeeze. But I think the goal is to build CAUD to a level over the next 18 months, 3 years, or could take longer, that it's a multi-billion-dollar company and the stock's trading, believe it or not, for $50. That's a longer term view, but I'm willing to wait. My confidence in Peter Boards and what he's doing with Elizabeth DeMars, and I'm not trying to shortchange the others on the board. I just can't remember the names as I'm talking to you. I'm highly skeptical that any of the Aubrey SPAC members need to be on the board. Aubrey advisors failed Logic and CAUD shareholders miserably. They couldn't have done any worse. Aubrey Advisors was a disaster, and their attorneys and their Polar hedge fund, absolute disaster. And they can't say it any other way. Oh no, it wasn't our fault. Well, wait a minute. For a year, you went out, you got the third party valuation at 114. That was $11 or $12 a share. And at the time, and for a year. And then you slow walked every single question from the SEC. Logic answered right away, but you slow walked them from the Aubrey SPAC time. You've done 100 of these. You're a huge group. You couldn't get those questions answered right away. And then when it comes to the deadline, when the SEC says, hey, we're going to pull this deal unless you get it funded, where are you going to get your money? You as Aubrey SPAC find somebody, and it might have been Brownstone, it might have been Chadron, but Aubrey Advisors has done 100 of these. And they didn't have the professionalism or the skill level to say, hey, wait a minute, you better raise more than $5 million because you're paying the lawyers $2.5 million, and then the placement agent is taking $2.5 million, or maybe it was Aubrey Advisors themselves. I'd have to look in the documents, leaving the company nothing. Well, what's that a setup for? That's a setup that CAUD has to go back to Aubrey Advisors clients and get what E. Jean Carroll would say is sexy, or whatever she said on her stupid interview about the fantasy she has. Why would Aubrey SPAC do that? What Aubrey SPAC did, Aubrey Advisors did, they put up their own money. They probably took it out of the market by selling Logic stock. They went to their buddies at Polar and elsewhere, or it's their own money. They put it up in the SPAC. Then they took it all out, and that's a fairly riskless transaction. They slow walked it. And then when the company needed more money, that little circle of criminals destroyed the market cap, and they kept it for themselves. This is all in my opinion and judgment. Then ask yourself, why did they not? They had a year, over a year. Why didn't they have a lawyer contact NASDAQ and say, look, this is what we're doing. We're doing a de-SPAC, and for a 2-day period, there won't be enough shares to qualify for trading on NASDAQ. But can we get an abeyance or an exception, because there's going to be demand in this stock and we are de-SPACing, and immediately we'll have so many shareholders, it'll be no problem. And here's the paperwork that the SEC's already approved. Instead, they didn't do that. They've done over 100 SPACs. Instead, they let someone in that criminal cartel call into NASDAQ when the stock was trading at 38 and say, hey, that was, I think, on a Wednesday or Thursday. Hey, there's not enough shareholders. And so NASDAQ in one department X'd it out. In another department, they knew what was going on. And either Friday or Monday, there were enough shares. But no wonder I'm talking so loudly. Both my ears were plugged. But why would Aubrey SPAC not tell their client, Logic / CAUD, you better get these roll-ups, these 3 or 4 companies merging with you, get those contracts as a binding agreement, because then you're going to have this huge revenue number to tell the world. If you don't do it, there's a risk the hedge funds will drive the stock price down, which will busticate, as my dad said they used to say in upstate New York. They will busticate all the agreements, and then you're sitting there without anything to merge into. Aubrey Advisors, 100 SPACs? They didn't know to say that? No, because their real client is Polar and the other one. And I don't know who it was for sure. I just think it was Polar. There were 2 or 3 hedge funds. And they just stripped 100 million, 125 million, maybe more out of the market. Their real client were the shorts. So anyway, I think they should get rid of the Aubrey SPAC, the Aubrey Advisors members from the CAUD board. But that's not my call. That's obviously the call of Peter. But I think they're there just to make sure that CAUD does not do anything that could catch out the large short position. That's my opinion. It's my working theory. But otherwise, you've got a great, I really believe you've got a great team with a vision to revolutionize ad tech, advertising technology, or marketing technology. And so I'm excited.
Call for him.
You're live.
Are you still live?
Yeah, you're live right now. You're speaking
All
to
right,
the
I'm
world.
sorry about that. I had the baby in the car, so I had to get home, and I took care of that.
Are you
I did
okay?
Excuse me?
I was talking to Lucky. He's okay. He looks okay.
All right,
I don't know.
you got me nervous.
I was nervous.
Anyway, so I spoke about that. I forgot the symbol on it. RGM, is that it? I can't remember.
I wrote it. No, I didn't. I here, I'll tell you what it is.
The one that the guy that wants me to tell them before they go up. Tell them no.
Yeah, yeah. BMR. Is it BMR? BMR.
BMR.
Is that it?
BMR. I guess that's it. I don't know. Yeah, it's up $13, $14 today. So this company landed a deal with NVIDIA. I don't know exactly what it is, but they caught somebody short. I don't know how big the short was. The difference between this and Finger Motion is I don't know how big the short is. I haven't followed this at all. Its 90-day average is 109,000 shares, which isn't much. So I can't imagine what was going on here. Finger Motion's average 90 days is 650,000. So a lot more activity there, and that's only 90 days. So if we go back in time, it's probably bigger. So again, the difference between finger motion and that, these guys signed the deal with NVIDIA. I don't believe they have any. I don't believe they have a toxic lender on them like we have from Lynn Partners and their friends. All right.
Yeah.
And finger motion. I told everybody. I said it many times on the call, William, that companies, small companies, it's like impossible to get a big company to verify that you're a legitimate company. Think about it. NVIDIA is sitting there telling everybody, we're doing the deal with this small company. You know how hard that is to get that through. NVIDIA probably did so much due diligence on these guys. And you know what? When they figured it out, said these guys are real, they announced the news. Finger motion has gone through the same thing and has gotten zero rewards for what they're doing. Zero meaning that the stock should be popping like this. It should be $30, $40 already, just based on the relationships that these guys have. Instead, we have to sit here and watch this nonsense all day. It's always down a penny, down a nickel, down a penny, down a penny. Since October 10th, it's been the same nonsense. All right, no reward. To have a deal with AIZ. AIZ is a $10 billion insurance company. It's $170. What do you call it? Munich Re, $50-60 billion reinsurance company. Pacific Life Re is a $12 billion reinsurance company. That's three already. You got China Mobile and China Unicom. I don't know how big they are, but if there's 1.5 billion people, those phone companies are worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
But there's no value for any of these relationships that they have.
Yeah.
Zero. No matter what they do, it has no value.
Yeah.
They started a new project with the app, you know, that whatever they're going to do to it. It's got a couple of 100,000 people already, and it just started. For finger motion, they need to put out news and say, okay, we signed a deal with X, and an hour later we made $10 million. That's how the stock has to go up. That's how ridiculous that statement is that I just made to you. That's Wall Street. That's the Wall Street that we're caught in because of fraud. That's what the company has to do. And we all say the same thing. And people say on your calls, William, they'll say, how come the stock never goes up? That's what they all say. And I got it. I understand. If you don't know anything about what we're talking about, that's the fraud. Because see, what happens is you give up on the stock. We all do. It's not moving. Let me move along. It's part of the game. And the shorts have turned.
Well, tell the story. Tell the story of that biotech company where the analysts sold it down and it was taken over a week later at 80 or something.
No, it wasn't a week later. It was months later. But my mom had breast cancer, and I followed this company. I heard they had great data, so I started buying the stock. The stock went from 2.5. We had it up to 5.5. That's when I had the power, and we were all buying it. And Adam Florenstein, who's notorious for killing Northwest Bio, CVM, he kills all the biotechs. And I think he was I don't think he was a biotech expert. I think he was a real estate broker, and he became a biotech. He became the biotech guru of bashing stocks.
Right.
And he came out and he wrote a story. The company was the lead presenter at the prestigious cancer conference called APCO. It's the biggest conference in the country, in the world. And they were the lead presenter. So the data, everything was going great. This guy wrote a story that the company was presenting old data and got them kicked out of the conference because the conference is not about presenting new data. You can't present old data. It's got to be new data. And he was saying that they showed somebody the data, and that was he got them kicked out over nonsense. You can Google the story. IMMU kicked out a prestigious conference. That's how he wrote. He made it sound like they were committing fraud. The stock went from 5.5 down to 2.5. Millions of shares. Everybody screamed at me. This company was a fraud. What are you talking about? I don't know, 6 months, 7 months later, it was taken over by GILD at $88 a share. A $22 billion takeover. The out of this world. And for anyone who has a daughter, a mother, a grandmother who has cancer, you want this information out there. This guy was trying to shut it down for his friends. And if you read that story, just Google that headline, everyone on his phone will vomit. That's how cruel that was, what he put out. And
Well,
it's a disgrace.
it's a disgrace for the people needing the therapy, but it also hurt investors, you know?
Forget the investors. It murdered people.
I know it murdered people, but
Women, your own daughters, everyone on this
horrible.
phone has a relative that's a woman. Are you kidding me?
it's horrible.
Everyone who's born had a mother, and they don't even care.
No,
It's a fact.
no.
And this is not something, I'm not making it up. It's right there. If you look at that story, you'll vomit. Because he could basically he's telling you, fuck you. I don't care if you die. I don't care if your mother dies. We need to knock this stock down. That's what he was saying to me.
Yeah.
And it's right there. And anybody that wants to ever question me on it, I'm an expert on those things. I can remember. I don't remember the dates. You know, it was a while ago, but I remember him doing the story. And it's still out there. He belongs in the electric chair from that story. And I used to scream. I couldn't believe it. You think I screamed out? You should have heard me then.
Wow. Bamofine Amibola Ogunbanjo, former chair of the NGX Group, the Nigerian Stock Exchange, died in a plane crash.
Fell out of a helicopter.
Yeah, it sounds like Briette.
There was a story in the newspaper that the new plague, it killed somebody in Oregon. They called it Black
the
Death.
pox that.
No, it's called the Black Death. It's a disease.
No, there's a Black Death. There's some lung disease in Michigan, and there's an Alaska pox.
That's the Alaska pox. That's what it was.
Oh,
No, it was one in Oregon. Excuse me, it's in Oregon. Alaska pox. I saw that. It was like, your body, the skin's all red and puts holes in your body. Anyway, companies like CELU, which works on infectious disease, they killed that company. It's going to kill people. I keep trying to tell people, I don't own these stocks. I'm just telling it so you could feel the anger and see the disgrace, what you think is Wall Street. Wall Street, as far as everyone sees, it's NVIDIA or Amazon, it's FedEx, it's this, it's that. We need these small companies. We all can't live because Federal Express can deliver a package on time.
Right.
Who gives a shit about your package being there in 10 minutes, Amazon? I mean, who needs it? Whatever you're ordering, you need it in a minute? What the hell's going on? But that has more value. Amazon delivering packages has more value than people treating infectious disease.
Right.
Except when it's your turn and you get the disease. Then I want to see the people cry. I'm dying. I'm sick. I chopped off my legs. Don't you just wait till that happens to somebody? Then you're going to see people screaming and crying. I'm trying to head it off. Because God forbid, I don't want to get it. Or anyone in my family. And that's what I keep yelling about. Wall Street has let these guys destroy companies, and they do it smiling and laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah.
And they're killing their own family members. I mean, they should die faster, the whole family. I can't stand all of them. But just think about that. No respect at all. Couldn't care less. And they have the balls to lie to people as though they're doing good things. We need them because they give you a couple of $1 million. Yeah, you need them like you need a hole in your head. That's what you need them for. They're all frauds. They want to go out there and take medals, make donations as big shots. That's what they're all doing.
Right.
And people are looking at us as though we're doing something wrong. We're not doing anything wrong. And for the gentleman said that, our stocks go down, I can't stop the fraud. I told you that 50 times. And I'm not here to help you make money. I'm teaching you what's going on. You can trade, you can do whatever you like. Hey, you can buy a stock like ZJYL. It goes up to 300, back down, and you break even. You know what? That's life. That's what happens on Wall Street. You break even a lot. Breaking even's a good thing. Right? You can't win on every trade. Nobody wins on every trade. And no one here certainly say I'm 100 for 100. I know I'm good at what I do. I don't tell you half the shit that I follow. Because I don't want to hear people saying, oh, you pick this, you pick that. You're talking about different stocks. Why can't I talk about different stocks? Look at this stock today. Got to deal with NVIDIA. And I showed you how it worked. A partnership with NVIDIA worked for this company. And we have 5 partnerships with a company, and it doesn't move a fucking quarter. That's because we got criminal activity here. They don't have it in that name. I haven't got a chance to go back and look at it, but the company was doing something right. Anyone, I couldn't find that one early. You're right. I wish I would have found that one early. But there's 10,000 stocks. You go find it. You don't have to ask me to find it for you. Find your own. I tell you all the time, we can't tell. Go find the short squeeze candidate. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. Look at the stock, that TELO. I told you about it. It's a new IPO. The guy owns the whole goddamn thing. He owns the whole float. What did they do? The short sold into it, and they created another float already. There was no shares in the company. On Friday, traded 300,000 shares. So these guys shorted 300,000 shares. Investors bought it. So now there's a new float. Besides the guy owning 1 million, now it's 1.3 million. See how the float's created, the naked shorts, what they've done?
Yeah.
The company's in business one day. You got to watch it. One day. And that's why I brought it up. I didn't bring it up for telling you what to go buy it. That's your own opinion. Yeah, William, any questions?
Not that I can read them.
Well, again, I'm in Twitter jail, so I apologize.
Kenny G is crying to the courts about the SEC seeking to fund and activate the CAT system. I don't know what that means, but you might.
The CAT system is it's the audit trail.
Oh, the
they
audit.
Don't want anybody to see their audit
The
trail.
certified audit trail.
Their trades. That's it. Their trade data. That's what they're trying to hide. They've been trying to build the CAT system for years, and they've been delaying it for years. Why are they delaying it? Obviously, you know why. Because that's where all the criminal activity lies.
Do you know the MIAX exchange? It's apparently owned by Kenny G and others like JP Morgan, where maybe all of the counterfeit shares are taken offshore. MIAX. I don't know that.
I read that in someone's post. I saw it. Again, I don't listen. Everyone's going so deep and trying to uncover every gory detail about how these guys are hiding the crime. I don't waste my time learning all that. All I know is that stocks have 1 million shares. You can't have 1.5 million on day 2. You can't have 500,000 counterfeit shares in the market in one day.
Right.
If you saw that one day, 30% of the float was counterfeited in one day.
Right.
Imagine what's going to happen in over a year's time.
Right.
So this guy bought the whole float at $7. He figured out that this company's going to be a winner. And the shorts are flooding it already. That's what happened to me in Finger Motion. I thought this company was going to be a great company. I paid $287 in December 2018. It's 2024. I paid $287. The company was just starting out. And I'm down 50 cents from where it is. And the company's 100 times better. Not 100 times, 1,000 times better. You tell me that's Wall Street? That's how you're supposed to invest? I'm not a chip expert. I don't know anything about NVIDIA. So I'm sorry, I picked the wrong company to invest in. But to me, the company's been doing the right thing for years now. And the only thing that's negative is Lynn Partners. Change the symbol, find your own crooks. Pick any stock, they're all there. Don't find any small cap that you believe can change your life, and you'll find the criminals in there. CVM just raised more money again at $2. Charlie Victor Mary, working on head and neck cancer. My good friend had head and neck cancer. All right. They killed this company down. Where is it now? Where is it? It's $2 and something cents. Hold on a second. $2.37. It's working to get approval in Europe for head and neck cancer. These guys keep holding it down because the company needs to raise money, because they can't get to the finish line. If it was $40 the stock and they could raise money at 40, this thing would have been $200 then, right? But now they keep issuing more shares at $2. More shares, more shares, more shares. The market cap gets destroyed. And what does the company do? They reverse the stock. It's the same pattern. A monkey can do this. Actually, there are monkeys doing this stuff. Keep selling it. The company needs money. Fuck them. That's what they say. I can tell you what they said in the office saying. Fuck these people. Keep selling the stock. They're going to raise money again. The CEO's a scumbag. And then they post it on Twitter. The CEO keeps raising money. You give up on the stock. And one day you get the stock. When it does get the cure, gets approval, the stock will take off. But in the meantime, they steal everybody's money.
Yeah.
Any symbol, go pick it out. Northwest Bio, they could tell you. Northwest Bio is a small company and now has 1 billion shares in the float. And it's 56 cents. And it's working on brain cancer. Who the fuck works on brain cancer? That's what they're working on. For years, they've been working on it. They should be rewarded for working on it, not destroyed. What happens if they're real close? Which I'm hearing they are. What happens if they're real close and they're an inch away, maybe a tweak away from saving somebody, saving you? They don't even care. They've been short, stealing that money. They've been doing it for years. They put a fund out, a UK biotech guy. He lost 150 million out of business. They drove it to zero. They lost all his money. That's how much he believed in that company. Destroyed over what? Naked short selling. Again, I'm not going to sit here and bang a drum. I'm telling you facts, things that I see. All right? I can't stop manipulation in ZJYL. All right? The stock was 300 and nobody was selling it. It's $6 or $7 and people are selling it like crazy. Who? No one owned it. Who's selling it?
Yeah.
Does anyone forget that part? Right?
Well, in ZJYL, this guy's Jordan is asking, couldn't the whale, the whoever it is, just direct register all of his shares and take the shorts to court? They are trying to do that with part of their.
I'm not here to go down that road, but every company and every shareholder is not going to court. It takes a long time in court. MMTLP has been locked up over a year. You can't get any more obvious what's going on there, correct?
Right.
I think the bigger players in this game know what they're doing. I just don't have a direct pipe into them and say, hey, guys, can I have a conversation? Could you tell 500 people today what you're doing? You don't get that. So because I don't get that, we're sitting here in the dark watching what they're doing. I think they know they're manipulating it down. When the stock was 300 and you're a whale, if you wanted to sell it, why didn't you sell it then? Right?
Why does my position say 0 average cost now on ZJYL? I don't know. It should have recalculated your
holdings.
Yeah, it should have. Maybe, when I called E-Trade about mine, because they didn't even show up in my account. I guess it was Friday when I called her, Thursday. They said it would take 2 or 3 days to resolve everything. So maybe by tomorrow they'll have figured that out. I don't know.
William, what was the price you paid for ZJYL?
I paid 4 shares I got for $74,
All right,
and
so that's what I wanted to know. So William started buying it when we told everyone about what was going on here. The stock today, right now, is $165.
right.
All right. I don't call that a bad trade, William. Anyway.
No,
You know.
and I had
No, I'm not
chances.
saying that. The game is not over yet.
Exactly.
All right. It's up today. It's up to 825. And you know what? All the nonsense looks like it's grinding down. All right. And you could see that they started hitting GDC when the other one went down. GDC was acting good. All of a sudden, ZJY went up and they knocked that one down. So when ZJY goes up, they'll come back and take GDC. That's how I look at it.
Oh,
You know, I think I'm looking at these stocks. GTII is 450 to 500 million shares short. We pounded the truck in front of the SEC. For anyone who has the balls to say anything nasty to us or anybody else who's fighting this cause, we put the truck in front of the SEC. If you do have a problem, call the fucking SEC up. Take a picture of the truck and say, what the fuck are you doing? Did you see this thing? And they're going to say, no, we missed it 13 times. When you get that answer, then come back to me. I'll let you punch me right in the fucking face if they missed the truck. All right? I don't give, you tell me. Don't say shit to us. We've been calling the cops. No one calls the cops. We call the cops. We've been calling the cops for years. Where's our fucking payment? Where's our whistleblowing award? They pay off the fucking short sellers. They got a direct pipe into there. We're reporting the fraud in real time. And no one says anything to us. Don't you think that's strange? We didn't do it for a week. 3 years, 4 years of yelling this crime. I've been yelling it for 24 years. I've been more direct now because now we can see it in individual stocks. It's easy. It's hard to look at the whole landscape and say, oh, that's making sure this, and you have to study it a little bit. TELO, I showed you the fraud in real time. ZJYL, I showed you the fraud in real time. You watch interactive brokers raising the rates, issuing shares, they're loaning out. There's no stock, they're loaning it out all over the place. These are the signs of fraud. MMTLP, they stopped trading. That's so much fraud there by Wall Street that they rolled out that Putz Gasparino to write a story on. He wrote a story attacking the senator for bringing up the point of the stock. They want that to disappear. The system is going to get crushed when the shorts have to cover. They need to keep this quiet as best they can. China, South Korea is saying, F you, we want to fix our markets. We're sick of this thing. You're stealing all the investors' money. Doesn't everyone realize the people on this phone call, we're the ones that make the economy go. Not the fucking Kramers or Alpine and these guys. They buy one house and they sit with fucking fat bellies eating a steak all day, smoking a cigar. That's what they do. One person. They're intimate. They're a family. We have hundreds, thousands of people. Imagine making 20, 30,000 so you can pay off your credit card debt, buy a new car, send your kids to school. That's what this is about. And they're destroying it, and they keep taking your money from you. Your $10,000 like it's no big deal. That's what we're fighting about. And if you have any balls, call the FBI. Call the Secret Service. Call whoever the fuck you want to call. Help out. Don't fucking piss on us. We're regular guys. We're fighting for you. You don't want to fight? Then move to the sideline. Don't get on a call and ask stupid questions because we can't control it. All right, now you got me pissed off, William. Thank you.
I don't know how to. I'm having a hard time reading the. Let me see. Well, you already talked about that. TLO apparently is green, as well as ZJYL, I guess.
You want my opinion on You want my opinion on TELO?
I wouldn't buy it.
I'm not saying to buy it.
Yeah.
I think the gentleman who bought the whole thing is going to get his friends and run over these guys. That's my opinion.
That's cool. But is that TLO? Oh, it's the other one, Halo.
No, TELO. I
Yeah,
don't know that.
TLO. Yeah, he'll get his friends to buy with him. Yeah, that would be
He knows he's got these guys trapped.
maybe
And
that
if you
would
could
be
put
a
up-
good one to buy.
If you guy could buy, his IPO price is 7.
Right.
He paid 7. If he paid 7, he must think it has the value of 10 to 20, right?
Right.
He didn't buy it at 7 to think it's going to $7.50 or $8, right?
Right.
So I think that he'll get his friends, and I think that thing will turn, and it goes when it goes.
That might be one to buy then.
I'm not going to tell you because everyone's going to yell at me. Oh, you said something else. I don't want to say that. No one here is mature enough to understand this is Wall Street, and you talk about ideas. The one gentleman said, "Why not tell him about that R, whatever that is?"
I think he was tongue in cheek.
No, I'm only kidding. I know that. Okay. Again, GameStop, AMC. I mean, AMC. These guys want this company dead at all costs.
This is a good point. Mark is saying on Tilo, the guy bought it all. He's an insider. He's probably locked up. You know, he can't.
He is 100%. He'll be under scrutiny of the SEC for buying the whole thing. That is correct. So people start buying it, and the short sellers kept selling and created a new float now. So if he owned 100% before, right, he doesn't own 100% anymore if you add up all the new shareholders.
What's
correct?
the float of Tilo?
That's the float, 1 million.
1 million.
Now
Tilo
it's
hits
1 million. Now it's 1 million, probably 1,300,000. Pretty soon, if they counterfeit 1 million shares, his ownership's cut in half. He owns 50% of the float, correct?
Correct.
All right, but again, that's my opinion there. Finger motion, I think we're getting real close for a rocket coming. The shorts can't knock it down. I know a few people who've been adding down here every day. They buy 5,000-10,000 shares, a couple of big players, and they just keep poking at it. My friend from Clearwater called me up the other day. He buys every day. He's a wealthy guy. He buys every day 5,000 to 10,000 shares. He tells his friends to buy it. And you can see the accumulations coming in here. Okay, when they stop this little nonsense and the company comes out with some news, the company did say that they're doing a special dividend. I wonder when that's going to come out, right? What are the terms of that? Oh, the company's giving us the special dividend. Let's sell it down. That's bad news. Everything is bad news on these stocks. They create the illusion that everybody's selling. There's nobody selling. Yeah, does anyone have a stock you want me to look at?
Somebody's asking about MBH, any new news. I don't. Nextbridge, I don't know the new news, except I think there's been a lot of progress. I'm trying to remember.
Listen, William, let me ask you a question about that. I sent it to everybody. I'm not allowed to post it, so I sent it out to a lot of people. There was a big oil deal in the Permian Basin.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance. I saw it.
Is this company in the Permian Basin?
Yeah. Permian. Well, no.
So they're in the same location as major players, correct? They are there because I spoke to John Berger and he told me that a long time ago.
Yeah, it's the same.
Told me that.
It's the Delaware. It's called the Oro Grande Basin, but it's the same. Yeah, it's the same basic structure. You can see.
So everyone else around them is gushing with oil. There was a $26 billion deal done today. Oil deal.
Well, that's what happens. And in oil and gas, things go through a cycle. And when they're flat on the ground, I tried to get a deal done. When I went to London, no one would do it. When there's blood in the streets, the brave and the smart act. But as you go through the cycle, the big guys buy big guys. They merge and buy big guys. The first tier companies start to move, then the second tier, then the third tier. I'd say Nextbridge is a fourth tier company. Not that it's bad. It's just not on the list of what everyone's going to buy up first. But slowly, everything is being bought in the Permian Basin. They're going to turn. You'll get more than one bidder on the Oro Grande assets. And that's fantastic for everyone. Absolutely fantastic.
Well, Charlie Gasparino's calling the company a fraud. There is nothing there.
Now he works for the lamestream media.
Well, that's what it is. And he basically put that story out trying to get people. I don't even know what he's talking about. That's how stupid that is. And he wrote that story. He's trying just to get people to sell.
Yeah. Hey, good boy. I'm sorry you're getting old. You should see how Grumpy's doing on the call. He's getting old too.
Yeah, I'm grumpy. But again, I just want, if anyone, again, don't take it out on us. We're fighting to expose it. We are risking our lives. I've had 8 death threats over the years. 8. How many people on the phone call get death threats? You want a few? Give me your name and number. I'll get it taken care of.
Well, I think looking at how we've traded over the last couple of years, I think one thing is clear. What if and when a stock starts to quote unquote run, you have to take some money off the table. You have to, because they're relentless in the selling, and eventually it overtops and comes back down.
Well, just look at this. ZJYL stopped trading up 85 cents today at 8:31, right?
Yeah, it just closed, huh?
Right. 1 minute after hours, they're printing it at 8:27.
Wow, it's going to run maybe.
As every stock, as soon as they open up, are they always marked down at after hours?
Yeah.
Is it? That's what they always do. And they sell one share, they mark it down.
That's a pretty good close today, 8:31, huh? Up 85 cents. That's not bad for ZJYL. I don't know if you can
I'm just
see.
trying to 831 times 20. So it's $166.20, right?
Yeah.
So again, these guys are short a lot of shares. I expect this thing to have a run. When it has its run, you can get out, do what you have to do. And you learned about a forward split. There is no one on this phone that can do any damage to the stock up or down. 0. No one here. These guys are the big players, weren't selling it at 300. They're not selling it at 166. So that's how I look at things. It was 300 and it was trading 5,000 shares. If people owned over 1 million, I don't think they were selling it, right?
Right.
People say it's a pump and dump. Yeah, but nobody sold it. Where's the pump? Where's the dump? Right?
That's exactly right.
And you have to stop listening to the pump and dump nonsense. Those are created by short sellers. That's their terminology. I'll give you the terminology. Pump and dump. You're a bag holder, right? The CEO is the scumbag. It's the same lines. They use the same thing. The other day there was a story posted. Wall Street firms had to pay $1.5 billion for using their telephones on their trading desk. What exactly were they saying on their phones? Obviously, they're communicating and working together to steal your money. They weren't saying how nice the weather is, that's for sure. So the brokerage firms, the market makers, what do they use? Codes. We told you about that. When you see a stock, when it says 205 or 333 or 666, they're talking to each other because they can't use their phones. They just got sanctioned for doing that. Every trading firm is probably screaming, everybody, do not say a word on your phones. We just had to pay $1.5 billion to settle this thing. That's Wall Street's way of stealing your money. I'm not doing it. I'm not talking to people, checks in on the phone, hey, move the markets this way, let's kill these people. Can you imagine what they said on those calls? That's what they should be showing you. What exactly did they say? It cost them that much money, right?
Yeah.
Again, the Chinese going after the short sellers. South Korea, the UK stated over the weekend they're revisiting their short selling rules. Everybody says it, and the US has said, boo, nothing. Doesn't anyone think that's strange? They haven't said a word. To me, that's so strange.
This is finally a reasonable question. If ZGYL went to 300 or something, what would happen to GDC? Would it move at the same time? You don't know, but I would guess it would.
I'm gonna answer that. I say 100% they move together. That's my opinion on that. Because I watched the trading the last few days. It was going up. ZJYL says sell off, and they knocked it down. Any other questions?
Not really. I'm having a hard time reading them because my eyes are
Well,
still
same thing anyway.
dilated.
GTII, I'll speak about it again. We're waiting for management to close the transactions. There's people running around with deals. We're all hearing it. When do they do it? When does management accept it? Do they have to do audits? Do they have to do any legal stuff to get a deal done? I assume so. So we'll wait and see. We know it's 450 to 500 million. Who are the culprits? The Kramers, Alpine, and friends, wherever they're hiding it. Alpine, Richard, not legal advice, has recapped it, making me sick listening to it. It's so goddamn boring. But these guys are criminals. FINRA, the SEC, everybody's after them, and they're fighting to keep alive. For what reason? They have no business. If they ever do get in business, they'll just investigate them to death and shut them down anyway. So obviously they're doing it for some reason to hide the dead bodies, is my guess. And all those nice LLCs that John Hurry has and the Kramers, they've been shuffling these things and moving positions around to hide it. Maybe they moved it offshore. I don't know where it is, but they've done something. All right, so we're sitting here waiting for that. What could be a catalyst? Those things, the FBI, the Secret Service, MMTLP movement in DC, those are all catalysts to make this happen. And if the SEC got up off out of the fucking chair and did anything, they would all work. Finger motion is a different story. Finger motion has very good fundamentals, in my opinion. Go watch the CEO. They have tremendous partnerships, relationships. All right. These aren't the beginning of these relationships. They're getting to be mature, and they're going to start paying off like a slot. You stay at the slot machine long enough, you get a hit, right, William?
That's true.
So these guys are sitting here.
I was thinking about that today for myself. If you're in a stock that you're anxious about every single day, maybe for me, maybe I own too much. I just got to reduce the position because when it goes, you don't know. So anyway.
Well, I base exactly what you're saying. I base it on that these guys are having the company's moving forward. The CEO, to me, laid out the whole story. Everything is moving in the right direction. The company's not, everyone's expecting the company, they presented, what was he going to say? All negative stuff. Williams' interview was great. He asked him the questions. He didn't even ask the questions I wanted answered. All right, so the questions came from Williams to the CEO, and you saw the video. It's right there. Watch it again. Go watch another one of the CEO's videos. It's the same thing. He's not making stuff up. It's the same things he's been saying for a while. We're doing business with Munich Re, their actuaries, and we're working on getting to a product that we can actually get compensated on. It's not easy to do what they're looking for. They have all the data from China. These guys want to see the data. They want to see if you drive fast, you drive slow, if you drink, whatever you're doing, they know based on your cell phone. And it's right there. So to me, I see the company as a big future. And you sit there and say, well, how far can it go? Well, it's got to go higher than $2.30. That's for shit sure. It was added to the NASDAQ at $9. It was a cap down that day. It was $9. They got listed on the NASDAQ and they got bear rated the same day. Welcome to the NASDAQ. What's the big deal if you're on the NASDAQ? They manipulate you anyway. People always says, oh, you got to get off the small caps and the pink sheets. For what? The NASDAQ doesn't protect anybody. There you go. I just watched it go down. All these poor companies that sit here paying all these fees, they go, we're going to ring the NASDAQ bell. You should basically hide, because if anyone sees you, they short your stock. You're better off not saying anything, never trading. You know, if I was the CEO of a company, I would tell people, buy one share, don't even do anything, do it nice and slow. TELO closed at 625. First trade after hours, it's down on 100 shares to 613, down 12 cents. Every stock always gets marked down, unless you're in NVIDIA. Where's NVIDIA today?
I don't know.
NVIDIA is up. NVIDIA was up $1.15. After hours, it's down to 720 already. The after hours pre-market is there just to play games with your head.
So apparently Robinhood added ZJYL to the 24-hour a day tradable stocks.
I don't know what that means.
It's all fake shares at Robinhood anyway.
These guys, they just invented more ways to take your money. That's all they've done. You know, I watched the thing the other day, Charlie Payne and Hester Pierce. She's the commissioner of the SEC. And she said the SEC is done so much good for the retail investor. They're making you trade, and it's cheaper for you to trade. And Charlie Payne said exactly what I would have said. Hey, I'll pay a commission if the market is fair.
Good. He said that?
I don't need it to trade for free. And the SEC is trying to lower the cost and make you trade for free or a penny or whatever it's going to cost you. And they think that they're doing the right thing. And all they've done is they keep doing that while the crooks are looting you. You're focused on that. And that's what they always say. Hey, we let you trade. It's cheaper for you to trade now. If I have no money, what good is it?
So
they steal all the money and they never address. And Charlie Payne said, hey, make it a fair market. I'll pay the commission. And I'm sure everybody here would say the same thing. Hey, let us pay a commission, but settle our trades. Let me see you do the right thing. They walk away right away. They don't say anything.
So since they didn't cover ZJYL at what would have been $15, why do you think it could run this week or next week? What would cause them to finally
because
cover?
the company has now, listen, everyone on this phone call, I've heard the calls. I bought 12 shares. I bought 15 shares. I bought 100 shares. I bought 50 shares. I bought 30 shares. And you don't even count as a shareholder unless you have 100 shares. So the company did a forward split to do what? To make sure the NASDAQ was happy. The NASDAQ told them they needed to do it to get more shareholders. But if I was the IR guy for that firm, how am I going to get people to buy a $300 stock? Hey, go buy 100 shares of this stock at 300. People can look at it and say, what are you, crazy? It's a lot of money. I'm paying $300. What? They forward split it. Now the company becomes affordable. Do you think that the people who are buying this, who are doing this, nonsense, now have a stock that's here? The shorts are laying into it. They're not selling it. They can accumulate a lot more, get many shareholders. It is a Chinese company, right?
Right.
Chinese
Hong
company,
Kong,
get
anyway.
Chinese investors. They get Chinese investors to start buying it, some funds. They get some people that, buying 50,000 of an $8 stock is a lot different than buying a stock at 300, right? That volatility scares everybody, right?
Hey, KYP is here.
Well, welcome back.
She says
She's sending us a storm. That's what she's sending us.
It's no longer football season. Time to play pickleball with KYP.
Oh.
You guys, maybe instead of going against each other, why don't you just go on the double circuit together?
That's what I guess.
And see how high you can go. Just
That's all I want to see. That was my main goal, William. I'm looking for a female partner. And
She'll be your doubles partner, and you guys can go take on Brooklyn and then Queens, and then
we're going to go play the Orthodox Jews on 13th Avenue, tell them.
and then you can go down to Miami and play.
Well, I don't think she can get away from what she's doing to go do that. But yes,
well, if your scores start going, you guys can have your own sponsorship deals, and it's a new business.
I asked a friend to sponsor me, get to my double partners I want to get. I told him I needed $2 million. He said, how do I get paid back? I said, no, you just lose it all. We're just going to go out. After we play all day, we're going out to dinner and drinking. That's what I said. He was laughing. I gave it a shot, though, right? Yes.
You asked. Yeah, you're good at.
Anyway, listen, everybody.
You would have sold
on Twitter.
I saw three doctors today. You probably would have sold each of them on finger by the time you left. I didn't do it. You're amazing.
I was in the doctor's. My daughter took the baby in to his checkup, so I just drove because she has to make sure he doesn't cry in the back seat like he was doing. So that's what we did. One more thing I want to tell everybody, and I'll share this with you. And I had taken my son for stem cell treatment. And my son is blind in his eye. And I showed William a photo of his eye test, which we just took the other day. And he can only see out of there's 4 quadrants on the eye. He can only see out of the bottom right. And it's highlighted with this yellow. It's not, they don't take a picture of your eye. It's a sort of a graph. And his bottom right quadrant is what he can see out of. So he can't see left and right very well. And I took him to Asia to get stem cells. That's why I did that. And you don't know how it proceeds. We have no idea. We're just wishing and hoping and praying that it works. And we went to the eye doctor specialist the other day in New York. And we got this new eye test back. And the yellow, which is the good part that you can see on the graph, is now spreading into the upper right quadrant. So he was only seeing 20%. He's surpassed 25% and maybe 33% now. So our stem cells, the treatment, I've taken them for my knees, and you really can't tell. I think my knees are going to be like I'm going to be 20 years old, and that's not how it works. But with the eye, the data is real. It's right there. We can see it. I can see it from the last eye test to the new eye test. We've done nothing, any treatment. There's nothing no doctors ever said to do anything. And the only thing I've added to the mix was the stem cell treatment. So I think I'm going to have to sell my kidney and get him back over there, get another shot, and see if it keeps moving to help get his eyesight back. So it is interesting. If anyone has anything that's really crazy, start reading up on the stem cells, because if it can do that to his optic nerves and repair them from his accident, it maybe can help you or your loved one for doing it. Again, there's no guarantees in all this stuff. It's like everything else. But the proof is in the eye test, which I showed William. I mean, you saw it, William. William?
Yeah.
Oh, did you see the eye test? I showed it to you?
Yeah, it was amazing. It's a miracle.
So we're hoping that the trend is our friend. I really don't give a shit about the stock market. If I could just get that back to, halfway normal, then it's a victory for all of us. So it would help anybody who has eye problems. But read up on it, go find information on it. But I think this could be something that could, help people in many different areas, whether it's a neck injury, a back injury, whatever it may be. Pay attention to it, because there's a lot of famous people that are doing it, have been doing it for a while. I knew nothing about it because I couldn't afford it, but they are doing it. So take a look at it. Maybe it can help you out. So anyway, I'll leave you with that. But listen, have a great night again. If anyone says on Twitter, I'm in Twitter jail for another couple of days, so I can't really say anything. All right. So if anyone says where's this idiot, just let them know I'm in jail.
Well,
All right.
we all appreciate it.
Nah, listen, I'm here only to do that. I tell the story the way it is. Best of luck, and we'll see you tomorrow. All right.
All right.
All right, William, wake up. Come on. We're ending the call.
All right, end
You're
the
like a
call.
girlfriend. I can't get. You're like an old girlfriend. I can't get you off the phone.
I'm-
Yeah, goodbye.
I'm-
All right, listen, everybody. Have a great night. Thank you.
all right, bye.
Thank you.
So
Call ended.
this guy who seems to be a computer, I can't find his name. He's like double steeple or something. Asked me to say, is gold a good investment or not? And oh no, just what we need, 20 million more ounces. Well, number one, I think gold is a good investment. I hate seeing everywhere you turn on TV now, there's an advertisement for gold. So that leads me to believe it's not an investment maybe for right now. Maybe it'll happen later, but you don't know when. My opinion, the only reason gold prices are down is because both China and Russia, maybe Iran and India, but China and Russia are accumulating gold. And so they don't want it to run. But gold is a hedge against the collapse in the dollar, which I don't think is going to happen at the accelerated rate that everyone thinks, but it could. It could. It could. It's not out of the realm that it shock everybody right away. But I think gold is a great investment. I forget who asked me the question now, the guy that's always negative. But I think silver is a better investment, believe it or not. Silver is far more volatile. I think gold has a chance one morning to be 3,000 or 10,000. It could just be a decision to reprice gold. I think silver, in my opinion, has a chance in the cycle to go, believe it or not, 1 ounce of silver for 1 ounce of gold. Right now, I think it's 80 to 1 in price. It was as high as 120 to 1. I think the historic in-ground number, or the from Roman times or whenever the heck, London, the exchequer, I think, set it the price for 100 years. It traded at 15.5 to 1. Now it's 80 to 1. So I like silver. Anyway, the second question this guy, Double Steeple, asked is, oh no, all we need is another 20 million ounces of gold. That'll destroy gold price. Well, number one, the production out of that mine, if it gets going, would probably be in the range of 1 million ounces a year, 2 million a year. Number two, believe it or not, I think the discovery there could be expanded to 100 million ounces. So if you're negative that the gold market can't take more supply, you're going to be more negative. But I think it can. And then it gets, it's interesting, even with real estate, even with anything you think about, it seems like there's a shift in particularly women's desires to have children. I understand that 50%, 51% of women age 30 or younger have never had a child. I don't know if that's in the United States, the Western world. I don't think it applies worldwide. But that's a real change in terms of how our population is going to be replacing itself. So anyway, if we have smaller population, that means there's less demand for things. It's just a fundamental projection. On the other hand, what's going on in the Red Sea now, which is causing supply chains to be diverted and get more expensive. What's happening in the Ukraine, the breadbasket of the MENA region of the world, of Russia, isn't producing any produce. They're in the middle of a war. And then you combine it with, it hits our news for one night, and then we go back to Taylor Swift's Rear End, the new rear end to obsess about for some reason. But chicken hatcheries, chicken factories, beef factories, farms, farmland in Ohio are being destroyed in the United States. And we expect all this to go on without raising food prices, without inflation to go up. In that kind of a world, inflation going up, gold should do fairly well. On the other hand, it looks like, particularly with commercial real estate, there's going to be a sharp reduction in the amount of money outstanding as those loans can't be refinanced and as they're paid off. So there may be a depression. Believe it or not, gold and silver do well in a depression as well. They're a store of value. So yes, I think gold's a good investment. This company, I'm gonna see if I can find a dozen of you interested. But this company, this quasi-private company, it's really public. Anyway, it's in this netherworld. They're raising money on their proven reserves, albeit there's risk. Can it be commercially produced? But they're raising it at $4 to $5 an ounce that they've had independently assayed. $4 or $5. That's and the cost of the process is maybe $400 or $500 an ounce. Gold is selling at 2,000. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Pretty good numbers. I can't read these. Over here, I can't read them. There, I can read them. So this guy's the. Prove that I'm not working for the shorts? Are you talking to me? You must be. Is that a serious question? If anything, I think you're working for the shorts. How do I prove it that I'm not working for the shorts? How do I prove that to you? If I were working for the shorts, I would do nothing in the open. I'd get paid on the side with suitcases of cash. I'd publish articles ridiculing investors. I'd say that meme stocks are ridiculous. I'd say that there's no counterfeiting in the U.S. markets. I don't understand your question. I can't prove it or disprove it. If you think I work for the shorts, you shouldn't be listening to me. Yeah, stem cells, it's amazing what's happening on this chart this kid has. It's great news. It's like a miracle. Yes, he had trauma. His son was I'm not sure it's my place to talk about it. But yes, he had trauma. Disastrous trauma. I'm a little teapot. That's the only name they've heard that I've heard is IBKR. Doesn't mean there aren't others, but at least one of the large holders bought his shares through IBKR, and they're asking for 500,000 shares delivered out of the system, and IBKR can't do it. I think IBKR is the bad guy in this case. They've got to face off. Well, Wickedums, from what I've read, the shorts made a killing when they destroyed Shearson, Lehman, and Bear Stearns, and they almost got every bank out there. So what the banksters did, in the case of Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley, they had access to private information, so they knew what to bid on, what bonds to bid on, what companies to bid on. And then they applied for FDIC insurance. George W. Bush, this sucker's going down, worked with the bald-headed Goldman guy and put out almost $1 trillion in cash to save the banks. And then Obama came in, and folks deserve better treatment. He didn't put a single bankster in jail. He barely even had any one of them to court or before Congress. And he bailed all the banksters out and the hedge funds. And just so it goes on. My answer to you, Wickedums, if you read and study it, the reg show, they put out a reg show proposal. You know, there's 4 tickets in the US: buy, sell short, or market maker exemption. And that whole market maker exemption was there to allow the shorts time to clean up their trades. Instead, they just opened the sluices, and it got worse and worse and worse. I know there was a warehouse in Chicago they lit on fire. So maybe some of those tickets were trades that disappeared. And then according to Dr. Susan Trimbath and others, there's a warehouse where these trades go to die. But it's all festering there. No trade goes away. That's why I think MMTLP is so important. It's going to prove beyond a doubt that this crap actually happens. I don't know what that says over there. Yahoo Finance is saying TLO has a float of 32.53. Well, that's certainly a different story. I don't know the answer. Let's look at OTC markets. I'm really having a hard time reading perfectly, but I can see this, I think. I just kind of guess at what I'm seeing. It says float not available, authorized shares not available. Let me look at Yahoo Finance. Average volume. I think it says K. Yeah, K. 112,000. Shares outstanding not applicable. Implied shares outstanding NA. It says float 32.53 million with is that an 8? An 8 there. So you go down and read what 8 says. I don't know what 8 means. Maybe you have to go back to the summary page. See what 8 means. I don't know what that 8 means. It doesn't say what the 8 means. Maybe there are 32 million. I mean, I don't know that Yahoo is correct. I don't know the answer, Mark. I'll have to. I guess I could find it in the filings. But I'm too tired to look. I'll do it. I'll do it before our next call. Yeah, thank you, Jeff, very much. I texted Martin and I tried it. I couldn't get through on the site. I find it hard to believe that it's for sale, but that's the kind of trick the bad guys would play. Let's see what he says, Joe. Yeah, I texted him, Jeff. Thank you very much. So he knows about it. I find it kind of unbelievable, but you're right. The site seems to be down. It's just I own a handful of sites, and when I've been late on paying, they usually give about 30 days to. But maybe this is already past that period. So anyway, he's jumped on it. So let's just keep our fingers crossed. I know that the graph he has, it's spreading. It really is a miracle. It really is a miracle. Somehow I see this is the risk. I can't quite read what's over there. I don't think I'm getting any new questions. Yeah, Jeff, I told him, and I'll tell him next time he has an offering, he has to give Jeff Chapman a discount. I moved. I think maybe I'm still on GoDaddy, but I might have moved. I don't know. Yeah, I hope that's all it is. Or maybe the automatic payment missed because the card expired. It can be anything. The card expired, or they changed the account. Oh, yeah, Cliff, I wonder when that changes. It seemed like today it might have, because the stock stopped trading briefly. On the other hand, it might have just been my service. But this, as far as I know, it's just all pending with the SEC and FINRA and OTC markets. It's just waiting for approval. WDHI was meant to trade by the end of last year, and they're acquiring other companies, or at least considering it. There's a quiet period, but again, your regulators are taking their sweet Virginia time. So it should be any time now. Should be any time now. And the name change isn't going to do anything to the stock price, but I expect that to be effective soon too. And in terms of the dividends, according to Frank Kristen on his last interview and on press releases, they sold non-core assets last year for 15 cents a share. Now, I noticed their shares increased slightly this last month. So that 15 cents a share number probably has gone down to, I don't know, 12 cents a share. But anyway, on the interview, he said that he would distribute that in its entirety as a dividend. I'm paraphrasing. Later in the interview, he repeated that. Later on in the question and answer period, he said, well, it's before the board and we really haven't decided whether we'll do a cash or a share dividend. So he kind of backtracked it. But his opening salvo was that he's going to distribute that cash to shareholders. In the press releases, I think he said he could pay out a 6% or a 10% dividend. He didn't say off of what? Off of the net asset value in the company of $232 a share, off of the current price. That'd be a puny dividend. He didn't say, but I believe there'll be a cash dividend. And again, he said it was expected by the end of last year. So I expected any time now an announcement of a cash dividend. It could be a stock dividend. I don't think it'll be 15 cents and probably not 12 cents. Maybe it's 5 cents. Maybe it's 7 cents. I don't know. He didn't say. There is a risk it'll be a stock dividend, but I'm hopeful it's a cash dividend. Will it be less than 2.5 cents a share? I don't know. But just look at it. You're paying 3 cents a share, and if they give a dividend of 3 cents a share, that's a pretty bang up job you've done, I think. I spilled all my coffee on my wooden. The second dividend is the SPAC that one of the SPACs that HNRC sponsored was called HNRA, Houston Natural Resources A. I don't know what the A would be for. Well, that SPAC was set up source an oil and gas property. They purchased from Pogo producing, or Pogo Oil and Gas or Pogo Energy, whatever the rest of the name was. They bought from Pogo the New Mexico assets, which are producing their $460 million dollars worth of oil equivalent proven, and the company is cash flowing, and they are going to use cash flow to further drill. I can't remember as I'm talking to you if there's some water flood involved. I think there is, but they're going to triple production over the next 2.5, 3 years. And the only negative, but before I get to the negative, it's proven reserves, proven producing, proven cash flow, and proven earnings. And it seems like a great management team. The negative is they did they de-SPAC'd the criminals. Their set of criminals drove the stock down to under 2, and then they convinced them to do a financing because they're babes in the woods. I wish I had been able to talk to the guy. So they are doing a financing at these levels. When I did the calculation for HNRA and Pogo producing, I don't know, they changed, it's like LH producing. It worked out to a value of something like $58 a share. I haircut that by 75%. I only used 25% of that and did a video. I can't remember if I said it was worth $12 a share or $15, one of those. Well, it turns out with this offering, they took away all that upside, and now the upside is $12 or $15 a share. The stock's trading at $2. HNRC, that's how these greedy SPAC bankers take all of that profit away. They convince the babe in the woods CEO to do the deal at $2 because, hey, your stock's $2. Well, wait a minute. It was 15 or 12. But anyway, they're going to distribute that. And I think they own 7% of HNRA. It could be more. It could be 10%. But I did I can't remember. Could I figure that value out? Let me see. I don't know if there's any real way to figure that value out. It's a $2 stock. Unbelievable. It's trading, because of the criminals, HNRA is trading at $10 million market cap. The asset's worth $430 million. Proven. Not exploratory, proven. And so then when they go to raise money, they destroy their own per share value. But the CEO didn't know better, I guess, because he could have just financed the drilling out of cash flow. He didn't have to take that deal. I would bust it out. I'd break it out. But that's what they do. These are criminal organizations, these purveyors of SPACs. But anyway, let me see how many shares are out. $1.35 and 7.5 million shares outstanding. But it's going to be increased by this offering. That's why the stock's under pressure. So I guess technically, if you use today's prices, 7% is $700,000, or let's call it $1 million. it's not very much value if you take these depressed prices. But if you take the 400 million and times 7%, it's a big number. Anyway, they are going to deliver within 6 months from the DSPAC, which was in November. They're going to deliver those shares as a dividend, and I expect that pretty soon. Those are the two dividends I know about. I've never heard of that. I don't know. I don't know what that is. All right, I'm going to sign off. I'm a little bit tired, and I can't read. I can't read any of those. I have to come over here, and they're all blurry. So I'm finding the whole experience less than its usual enjoyable nature of it all. So I'm gonna just beg off. It's 4:52, and I'll say peace, love, and happiness to everybody. Let's make sure we pray for peace. I think there might be a rapprochement going on, and we can get around Victoria Nuland and her just absolutely insane desire to get us into a war with Russia. It's just like a plump woman to send young people to war. And she does cause a fight, but she doesn't have to fight it. Completely unattractive woman who isn't that smart, married to a right winger, and has the brains the size of a hollowed out pea, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I can't read that. Yeah, I think that's right, Kevin. I don't disagree with you. I think it's entirely possible that whoever they are, have made a commitment to squash any movement on social media. Why? Just like with MMTLP, they don't want this story confirmed. If number one, it's their source of riches. Number two, they're criminals. And number three, the argument goes, the system will collapse. Well, the system's going to collapse anyway. The system's going to collapse anyway. Might as well try to save the system first, but the system will collapse. Everything is on leverage, and it's not sustainable. It'll come down so fast, you'll wonder what happened. It'll be like a rock slide or an avalanche. I don't know what these say, so I have to take the chance. HNRC is going to issue 2 dividends, and then they intend to continue issuing dividends. But the first dividend, HNRC sold non-core assets for 15 cents a share. In January, they expanded their shares out So I didn't do the arithmetic, but let's say it's 10 or 12 cents a share. On his interview in November with the Emerging Growth Conference or something, you can Google it. He said that he will distribute that as a cash dividend. Then he said in the middle the same thing again. But in the question and answer session, he said, well, we haven't decided if it will be cash or a stock dividend. I don't know. But I expect that cash dividend was supposed to be done by the end of last year. I expect it any day now. He put out a press release at the beginning of January that it implied it might just be a smaller, really small amount, 6%. Well, 6% of what? But anyway, there's a cash dividend. It might be a stock dividend coming as a result of that. The delay may be they took financing or financing commitment for $10 million at the beginning of the year. If that is crap financing, it's difficult. But to the extent, and they also, he talked about they're still looking at acquisitions. So if he needs some of that cash to help fund a new SPAC or help fund an acquisition, maybe it won't be the whole amount, but it should be soon that it's announced. There are risks in the story. He's talking about an uplist. He's going to try to do it without a reverse stock split. But the criminals get all of these well-meaning guys. So there are some risks. The other dividend is HNRC sponsored the SPAC HNRA. HNRA purchased a $460 million proven asset, which is cash flowing and is profitable, and they're going to drill up the wells to increase the revenue. I forget now. I think they do 1.5 million barrels of oil equivalent a day in production. I think they're going to triple that. You can look it all up. It's all in the data that HNRA has released. To the best of my sleuthing, HNRC owns 7% of HNRA. Now, the HNRA just did a dilutive financing, unfortunately. So we may own less than 7%, or we're somehow, there's a contractual agreement there. I don't know. But that's going to be distributed within 6 months of the DSPAC. The DSPAC happened in November, I think. So we're almost there. So those are the two dividends HNRC is going to have. Yeah, the squeezes, Kevin, I happen to agree with you. They come out of the blue. And this is why I've gone a little soft on the momentum in GTII and Finger for squeezes. Doesn't mean it can't happen. It's just got to be something that shocks out of the blue, I think. Well, you make a very good point, Jeff. You make a very good point. In fact, I would argue that the neocons are in both parties. And I think neocons are a subset, an isolated but powerful subset. I don't really know what right-winger means anymore. It's a good point. It's a very good point. I mean, I wouldn't say that Trump is a right-winger at all. I would say he's much more like JFK or even a Reagan Democrat. Yeah, it's interesting. Who's a right winger? I'd say Hillary Clinton, John McCain, that senator from South Carolina, Lindsey Graham, Robert Kagan, who is Victoria Nuland's husband. Whoever's running the Biden White House, these are all neocons. These are neocons. But Jeff, I don't know how you look younger than I am. Neocons used to be the right wing of the Republican Party, particularly under the young Bush. And they had a certain amount of power in the Reagan White House, although I think he kept them at bay. But it's been a movement. So yeah, you make a really good point. You make a really good point. I don't know what these say. It's not reading glasses, Robert. I have to get a operation on this eye. And I just had an eye exam here, and they diluted my eye. It'll go away. But I will get glasses after I get this operation. Do you ever grow out your beard and dye your hair and beard dark brown? I've never thought of it. Never thought of it. I've never seen a man's hair dyed that looks good. Never. So I don't want to do it. I find it, I mean, women get away with it somehow, but I think dyeing hair for a man is not much of a living, boy. Might look like Al Pacino. Well, I'm mainly Irish and Italian. I'm Italian, so maybe I would. Oh, they just Tamal. This gentleman Kevin's right. The squeezes happen when they're caught unaware. If there's 20 variables, they got 19 under control, and when it starts to run, they're like, oh shit, I can't beat this, and then buy-ins happen. But they know if they combust it, it'll go back down. And I think Robin Hood was created to let the steam out of the pressure cooker of these situations. This is not even a cottage industry in the United States. This is a prevalent, widespread criminal activity that pervades our securities markets. Gary Gensler is there to prevent its discovery. He's there to support the prime brokerage business for Goldman Sachs, and he's not there to protect individual investors. And I said earlier, I'll say it again, everything on this video is in my judgment and in my opinion. So I think Robin Hood was set up as a pressure valve, and just if it runs up, they can sell it off in the nighttime. They can change. I watch you all's moods. Your moods go to extremely high, and then when it's down, you're anxious and fearful. You're just a subset of all the traders out there. So I think by letting it trade overnight, it allows. It's interesting they don't do it over the weekend. I don't know what that reason would be. It allows for more collusion, more manipulation, and more spreading of fear And in my judgment, selling more counterfeit shares. In the judgment of others, it's just more algorithmic trading. Well, I think, Jeff, I mean, I'm a Democrat, but I'm finding myself much more aligned with the red states than the blue states. I can't quite let go. You know, I'm a Democrat probably for a couple of reasons. One is that I believe everyone deserves equal opportunity. Everyone. There should be no ifs, ands, and buts, equal opportunity. And that means education to me. Unfortunately, we're not spending a lot of money on education. That's a whole subject. I'm not particularly for these charter schools. I would prefer that no child gets an inferior education to anyone else in this country. And I think that's the difference to everyone's future. And that means nobody is exempted from that opportunity. Now it gets tricky. Should it be through high school, through community college, through a trade school, or through 4 years of college? And since 4 years of college have turned into a woke joke and partying and experimenting with drugs and garnering a body count and basically anything goes. I'm not sure 4-year colleges have much value anymore, but trade school does, and maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I only would argue on the edge of that, what is it? But I think everyone deserves equal opportunity. And I am adamantly against discrimination and meanness and arbitrary hardship caused on people because of any differences. That's opportunity. I didn't say that everyone deserves an equal outcome. I didn't say that. But I do think the government can be a place that gives a helping hand to those. I mean, can you actually say that woman, I forget her name, whose family is uber rich and she's a journalist at the Washington Post, and she speaks in an affected voice, and she's on YouTube, I forget her name, and she pleads how difficult it is to be a journalist. She's completely woke. She went to the most expensive schools from the time she was in kindergarten. Do you think her life is going to be as difficult as someone that works their way up from the hollows of Kentucky or the blocks of Brooklyn, or just here in the other side of town? No, to me, you've got to help. You do have to provide help, but I don't think you can guarantee outcomes. I just don't think you can guarantee outcomes. The Democratic Party, at least the one I knew as I grew up, used to be a traditional religious party, but it had a big tent for others. But now I don't see much God in it anymore. That's unfortunate. And anyway, my other reason for being a Democrat is that I do think the United States government, up until recently, has been a force for good in the world and in our country. But now I waver on that because our government is being run by unqualified, woke, uh, uh, angry women in many cases, and simp men, to be blunt about it. And I think there's a lot of Orwellian crap happening, but I think the true values of America reside in the blue and in the green states, or was it red and green? We're talking over each other, but I'm much more drawn to the conservative side now. And I don't know if it's just because I'm older, but I think our country is going to have a hard time. I think you're hanging on to that term right winger that I said without thinking. But I think from a lot of the red states, the southern states, the western states, there's very good people. Some of my best friends, and that sounds like I'm talking about. I met somebody, I don't know, a Jewish guy. Oh, some of my best friends are Jewish. I don't mean it that way. I mean it that I think the values are much better for now. Anyway, I don't know. I don't think people want to join the army anymore. I don't think they want to work in the police force anymore. What kind of country are we going to have after all this wokeism goes through it? It's pretty frightening. I don't understand it. Don't understand the thinking. It's insanity as far as I can tell. Hood removed AMC. Oh, Robin Hood, yeah. All right. I don't know what GLTA means. Good luck to all. Great Lakes. Top. Great Lakes to Alaska. I don't know what GLTA means. Silver Minecart. I said it. I'll say it again. Frank Kristen gave an interview. It's out there to emerging growth stocks or conference or something. And he talked about Worldwide Holdings. Worldwide Holdings originally was slated as a record date in December of 2 Decembers ago. FINRA or NASDAQ, one or the other, came in and said, since you're distributing more than 25% of the company, there's a rule. You have to start with a different record date. We have to start over again. We have to notify everybody. So it didn't take effect. The record date was sometime in May 27th. So the original record date was made moot, and then it was May 27th. Well, the system distributed WDHI. I have WDHI just sitting in my account as well. The WDHI was valued at $3.50 based on the acquisition cost of its multiple assets, non-core to oil and gas. For example, one of them is AI on menus going in and out of Jack in the Box, or one of those as an example. And that's applicable to all menus. There's a few other things. So I personally am glad there's been a bit of a restriction on trading while that company gets its feet under itself, because if you got your shares, if I had gotten my shares right away, we would have sold it and the stock be 50 cents. So anyway, it's ostensibly worth $3.50 a share. Frank Kristen said on his interview that he's talking about acquiring additional companies for worldwide holdings. There is a quiet period and he couldn't talk about that. But as soon as any of those acquisitions occurred, if they occurred, he would disclose that information. Then he said that the approval for trading has not been yet granted by either the SEC or NASDAQ, whoever the hell's supposed to do it. They have not given their approval for that stock to trade. He expected it to trade by the end of December. It didn't. So now we're in January. I personally expect that Worldwide Holdings will be given approval to trade at any time. It has a lowish float. Hopefully there are some acquisitions that come in. And maybe, as I saw online, it could go to $5 or $6. My guess is everybody who gets it is going to sell. So there's going to be a tendency for the stock to go down initially, unless the acquisitions and the financials are so compelling, it'll hang on in there. Finally, I don't know if it's Frank Kristen personally or if it's HNRC or if it's combined, but I believe that Frank / HNRC still owns 17% of Worldwide Holdings. So they are committed to making sure it is successful. 17% is pretty big of a company. So anyway, that's my update. It's a little repetitive. Cliff, Worldwide Holdings was expected to be distributed. It was distributed last year. It was expected to be free to trade in 2023. According to Frank Kristen, the delay is with the regulators. They haven't approved it yet. He expected approval by the end of 2023. So if we extrapolate that, since it didn't happen in 2023, since the holidays are over, since the regulators have to do their job, and since all the T's have been dotted and the I's crossed, I would expect that it's going to be free to trade any day now. That's my guess. So I would just be on the alert. Yeah, exactly. You look younger. Well, you're already gone though. Hey Joe, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Ham's the best, isn't he? He's just the best. And he sticks to his guns, and he's not out here to be liked, although he's a bit of a softie. Oh, American Rare Earths Limited. That's the one that found that big discovery in Wyoming. I never knew about it. There's something about that seems a little weird, but like it's being announced because we're about to go to war with China. I hope not. I hope not. I hope not. But that's a great success story. I think this gold company I just mentioned is that in that kind of league. It's gigantic. On the other hand, I do think there's risks in it. I don't know how many risks are there in this ARRNF, but I love it in this particular gold company, which I've been in for over 15 years, is all of a sudden it's kind of a fill or kill. They're going to raise this money. I have no doubt they're going to raise it. They're going to build out the pilot plant by June, July. They're going to process tons of material and get the gold in hand. And at that point, there's no debate anymore. And they'll sell it to Barrick or do a joint venture with Newmont or something like that. And it'll be on the scale of ARRNF. I wish I had heard about that story. I voted for Trump twice, Jeff, and I intend to vote for him again. I voted for Trump when he ran against Hillary. I voted for Trump when he ran against Joe Biden. And I expect the choice to be I expect the choice either to be Biden or Hillary this time against Trump. I'll vote for Trump again. I can't bring myself to change my party. It's just I have a long memory on what the Republican Party stood for. From a very young age, I've been a civil rights guy, whatever that means anymore. But no, I voted for Trump. I voted for Trump already. I guess that wasn't clear. I think I've made it clear. Yeah, I think, yeah, I agree with you, Dominic. Taylor Lorenz, is that a movie? Yeah, I think that's right. RFK was great. But Jeff, I'm one of the few people you'll ever meet that I think Jimmy Carter was a great president. Everyone says, "Oh, he's a great president." I think he was a great president. And I also think Jimmy Carter was the last statesman we had. You could make an argument for George H.W. Bush, who I met. George H.W. Bush was a statesman. But he was just a third Reagan administration. He didn't get a chance to really change the country. And then we got something else. Oh, the journalist I'm thinking of, Taylor Lorenz. Yeah, wow. Yeah, Taylor Lorenz. You're right. That's her name. She it's these certain women that went to private schools and go to college. They talk, as they talk, their voice goes, oh God, it's so hard to listen to. They don't realize how annoying it is. They think it sounds classy. You got it, David. I'll do it. I'll do it. I shall do it. I can't stand Mitch McConnell. You can take Mitch McConnell. I met him. You can drop him in a I just, ugh, I don't like Mitch McConnell, and he's corrupt. He married, is it Elaine Chao? Is that her name? And then one of the worst appointments by Trump was to put her in transportation. They enriched themselves, the McConnells, with contracts from China. It's so corrupt. Mitch McConnell is corrupt. It's February 12th. Today is, yeah. That's it's the new Chinese New Year. I really, I guess it's time to say I need to do a show on it, but it's time to say that my January effect bounce didn't work. Fingers down, GTI's down, which I figured that would be. Logic is down, CAUD is down. HMRC is actually, you could argue it's slightly up, but it's basically flat. Vocal is way down. GDC is down. Go Logic is essentially flat, but it's down. CVM down. Wolf down. CNLV, I don't know, but I think it's flat at least. And then Northwest Bio was down. They're all down. So the January effect did not work this year. Oh, all right, Jeff. So you heard me. I'm not as Marxist as you think I am. I'm not Marxist. Yeah, he's a softie because he used to play handball. He used to play racquetball, but he played handball, and he made $5,000 a day or a week playing handball. And he was wicked, eh? Wicked, eh? Say no more, squire. Say no more, squire. Ace will be ecstatic. Look, when I vote here, it doesn't make a difference. It's the vote here will go entirely for Trump. I mean, for Biden. But what's interesting here is I don't like that he's picking V. Jack Ramsay for vice president. I wish he would pick Byron Donalds. That's who I wish he'd pick. Because, or I know you're going to, I think she's an absolutely lovely woman, but I like her stance on things. Or Anna Paulina Luna. They're both very young, but I think that the Republican Party and Donald Trump specifically can make a lot of headway in the voting habits of whatever the hell. Stupid Latinx term. Latinos, Latinas, Hispanics, because I actually think they're far more conservative than today's Democratic Party. And I also think he could make huge inroads if he just would give a visible power, give somebody power that is African American man. I think he can get African American votes from men. How do I know that? Because I have well, I haven't recently, but I used to go to a lot of political events in DC, and I have at least acquaintances, good acquaintances in local DC politics, and um, there's a lot of votes there to be gotten. I think picking Vivek Ramsey, it's like picking, ugh, it's, I don't know. I don't consider Kamala Harris, Nikki, the loser, Vivek Ramsey. I don't consider these people to have somehow been mistreated because their skin is ever so lighter than others. I mean, darker, darker than mine, but it's not really. I don't. Anyway. I wish he wouldn't pick Vivek Ramsey. ZJYL, where to close? Well, it's trading at 8:30, 8:31. Yeah, I think it could go. You can't be both a statesman and evil. Bushes are, oh, yeah. I also think uh, they made a lot of money. I met two of the brothers. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know who to believe that was involved in the conspiracy to take out JFK, but some people think who you're talking about. Some people think Johnson. I always thought it was more of the mob or the organized crime felt betrayed because I think they arranged the votes in as far off as West Virginia, Chicago, and elsewhere to get JFK elected, and then RFK went after him. I kind of think they probably were more to do with it, and maybe with the help of Cuba, but I think it was more that. Well, I told you who I like for vice president, but my two choices are unreasonable. I'd like Byron Donalds and Anna Paulina Luna. But I think more realistically, I would love to see Tulsi Gabbard, although I don't like her recent. Anyway, there's something I don't like. And I would love RFK, but he made the same mistake Tulsi did. But those would, I think, be brilliant choices, either Tulsi Gabbard or RFK Jr. I'm not sure either would do it, but with Trump, it's tricky. He knows the power of television, and he doesn't want the cameras going away from him. So he needs to pick somebody that won't take the spotlight. But on the other hand, what the Democrats did by having the most transparent, the fairest, most democratic election in the history of mankind is they interrupted Trump's term. So they got I think a singularly unqualified person appointed to the Supreme Court based solely on the fact that she was Black and a woman. Totally untalented. But they got her in, so Trump couldn't mold the court any further. And then they interrupted all of his policies. They put Folks's policies back in play. And now Trump is essentially going to be a lame duck. He just has one term. So his vice presidential pick becomes really important. I would love to see Eric Trump, but that's not going to happen. I like the governor of Arkansas, but she's already said she won't do it. I don't like the idea of Ben Carson. I don't really like that. It's possible, I guess. I'm trying to think who else it could be. I guess that's the handful. I would love to see Byron Donalds. That would be my number one pick. My number two pick would be Anna Paulina Luna. And my number three pick would be Sarah Saunders, if you're going in the Republican Party. If he could see his way to go outside of the Republican Party, I think RFK would be great. And I think Tulsi Gabbard would be great. But I don't think he'll go out of the party. And I would put Vivek at the bottom of my list. Is John still alive? Yes, he is, no doubt. Been there way too long and be a crook. I'm confused. Wait, what? I don't think earnings are going to matter one whit with ZJYL. ZJYL is all about the base. It's all about the fact that, although I've got a, no, that was the other one. Anyway, it's all about the potential for a short squeeze. I don't think earnings are going to matter. I'm not saying that out loud. A large, I have no idea what that is. Maybe that's what Nixon thought. That's what Nixon thought. I'm not so sure. I think that's true, but that's the way politics was run back then. Well, I agree. I mean, Martin Luther King said that you judge people, not on the content of their character, not on the color of their skin. But more importantly, you can't judge any human being on one characteristic. That's not fair. It's not fair at all. But we all do it as our first reaction. There's different things we react to. Jesse Jackson said back 25 years ago, he said, look, when he's talking about other young, maybe it was 30 years ago, other young African-American males, you have to be careful how you present, because even Jesse Jackson, when he goes out at night, and if there's a couple of guys with the hoods up and he gets nervous. We all do it We all do it initially. It's what you do in the next step. It's what you do with your second thought. Because those reactions are, I don't know, they come from somewhere. My reactions, it's not always has anything to do with race. It can just be a big drunk guy, or I was on the metro today coming back from my eyes, and there was a young woman doing some sort of weird pole dancing and swearing and going up and down, and I couldn't move to any part of the car without her following me. And when I got off, she followed me. That made me very nervous. Had nothing to do. She was just crazy. But anyway, we have, and I know she probably wasn't a bad person. But it should be colorist. I think there's no question that JFK not only was, the Fed, the paper currency is meaningless. Coins, though, whether they're silver or not, coins are issued by the Treasury. And you're right about that. I also think he was going to fight back against remember, he said, we all breathe the same air. We all want the same future for our children. We live on this same small planet. He wasn't a warmonger, JFK. I like Vivek as his VIP. It might already be a fait accompli. I'll have to get used to it. I think he's way too smooth, and I don't trust him for a second. But we'll find out. We'll find out. We did talk about ZJYL. Ham thinks it's going to have a run, and maybe this week. Maybe this week. The whales are still in it. They're not selling. This is all to get you to sell. This is to get you nervous. My own opinion is it probably won't run this week, and maybe it won't run next week, but it'll come. It's just going to try our patience. Another gentleman said any stock we talk about on Twitter or here, the shorts are watching, and they make an extra effort to suppress those shares. And so we'll see. But yeah, Ham still thinks that's going to have its run. He's not worried about any of this right now. Well, he'll have a mandate. What he needs to get is the House and the Senate. And he's got to appoint people that aren't rhinos, that aren't against him. And I think Washington has been corrupted first by Clinton money, and primarily Hillary Clinton. I think that's her angle. But I think $10 billion was raised for Haiti. It's obvious it wasn't spent there. Where did that $10 billion go? I think $10 billion can corrupt a government for a long, long time. Thank you, Barbara. I just don't trust Vivek. I think he's a smooth talker. He's too young. I don't think he's been tested. I don't react to him well. But hey, Rick, I'll keep an open mind on it. I'm not sure Trump's going to pick him. The camera would go to Vivek too often, but we'll find out. There's one other one that Nome governor. I haven't much fallen for her either. And then there's Elise Stefanik. That's an interesting choice, because would that help win New York? Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, it's interesting. We'll find out. We'll find out. CTNT. CTNT. All right, Joe. I don't know. I can write it down. CTNT. CTNT. Hey, Mr. Lamar. See, I gotta just click them. Yeah, could be, Dewey. Could be. She's young. She's got cojones. But she's white. Donald's is great. I think Donald's is great. Why? I saw Donald's question Gensler, and he's the last guy to talk. He waited patiently, but he was polite, but he went right at it. And I have confidence in his not being a rhino. Well, Rand Paul's interesting. There's a lot of material there, let me tell you. Rand Paul's interesting. Rand Paul's interesting. I would go with you there, Fisherman. I'm not sure he's going to be chosen. But he's not corrupt. And yeah, I think that's a good choice, Fisherman. If I can say cojones, then I can say large. I'm not going to take that risk. All right, I went on too long. How many of you really think how many of you really think he wrote this? I don't know, but I'm going to read it. All right, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to do it rather abruptly because I'm tired. I spilled coffee all over myself. And we didn't talk about stocks. We talked about stupid politics. Tune in to Ace the place for the helpful trading man. And tune in to everyone else. So I wish everyone a good night and peace. And I do pray for peace around the world and peace for all the animals. So good night, everybody. We'll talk sometime tomorrow. And It would be great if one of these just gave some liquidity. It would be great. And maybe we just have to rethink our strategy. All right. Cheers.